You know, our digital lives are really just a long series of choices. We click, we swipe, we subscribe, we buy. But here's a thought. How many of those choices are actually truly our own? Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on this invisible architecture of persuasion. All the ways our online world is built to nudge our behavior and shape our decisions, a lot of times without us even realizing it's happening.
Oh, you know the feeling. You're trying to do something simple, like unsubscribe from an email list or maybe cancel a free trial, and the whole process just feels intentionally difficult, right? Like you're trying to solve a puzzle that was designed specifically to make you give up. Well, I'm here to tell you, you are not imagining it. There's actually a name for this kind of thing.
Okay, check this out. This is a classic example from the Washington Post. To unsubscribe, you have to uncheck a box next to a sentence that says you no longer want to get something. That double negative is there for a reason, and it's not a mistake. It's designed to make you pause, get confused, and hopefully, from their perspective, just stay subscribed.
So yeah, these super frustrating experiences aren't just accidents or bad design. Nope, they are a part of a very deliberate strategy.
And they're called dark patterns. The most important word in that whole definition is knowingly. This isn't just a clumsy mistake. This is expert-level design with a single goal: to manipulate you into doing something that helps the company, usually at your own expense.
And don't think this is some small fringe issue. Research from Princeton found that more than 11% of the world's top shopping websites use these exact kinds of deceptive tactics. They are literally woven into the fabric of online shopping, influencing millions of us every single day.
So why are these things so darn effective? Well, it's because they're not just tricking our eyes on a screen, they are exploiting the very way our brains are wired. They tap into our cognitive biases, the mental shortcuts that all of us use to make decisions and just get through the day.
So for instance, take a bias called priming. In this cartoon, the box clearly says soap powder, but because it's surrounded by all that food in the pantry, your brain is primed to see soup. The context completely shapes what you perceive, and designers know this and use it to their advantage.
And then there's the good old bandwagon effect. You've totally seen this. A little notice pops up that says 20 people have this in their cart right now. That's not just a piece of information. That's social proof. It taps into our deep need to fit in, making us think, well, if everyone wants it, it must be a good choice for me too.
You put these biases together and you get some really sneaky patterns, like the one they call the Roach Motel. Think about that free trial that was just one click to sign up for. But when you go to cancel, suddenly the button is hidden, or worse, just gone. In one famous case, you had to navigate through 5 different confusing screens just to cancel a Sony PlayStation subscription. They make it incredibly easy to check in, but almost impossible to check out.
Okay, so now we get what these patterns are and how they tap into our psychology. But that brings up a much bigger question, right? What's the economic engine that makes being this deceptive so profitable in the first place?
Exactly. I mean, it's a lot of work to design these tricks just for one more click or one more month of a subscription. There has to be a much bigger business model at work here, a much grander design.
And there is. Harvard professor Shoshana Zuboff gave it a name: surveillance capitalism. And her definition is, well, it's pretty chilling. She calls it the unilateral claiming of private human experience as free raw material for behavioral data. What she's saying is that our very lives, what we like, where we go, are being treated like a natural resource, just waiting to be mined for free.
So let's break down how that actually works. First, companies just claim our experiences. Then, they package it all up as data. They use that data to create these things called prediction products, which are basically just really good guesses about what we'll do next. And they sell those to other businesses. But here's the crucial final step. They realized it's way more profitable not just to predict our behavior, but to actively shape it. They intervene to guarantee the outcomes that make them the most money.
Zuboff calls this a one-way mirror, and it's a perfect metaphor. They can see everything we do, but the whole system is designed to be totally opaque, even invisible to us. We have no real idea what they're collecting or how they're using it to steer our choices.
So if that business model sounds a little concerning, well, the technology that powers it is about to take a quantum leap. We are moving beyond just passively collecting data and into a whole new era of proactive, autonomous action.
And we're not just talking about a better chatbot here. We're talking about the emergence of autonomous AI agents. And this is going to be a fundamental shift in how we interact with technology, period.
So what's the difference? Well, an AI assistant, like Siri or Alexa, is reactive. You tell it to do something, and it does it. An AI agent is proactive. You give it a big goal, like, hey, book me a trip to Paris for under $2,000, and it just goes and does it. It'll research flights, compare hotels, book the reservations, and put it on your calendar all on its own, without you managing every little step.
And this is the real game changer. Like this quote from AWS points out, these agents aren't just our tools anymore. They're becoming our teammates. But think about that for a second. If your AI teammate makes a mistake and it costs you a ton of money, who's responsible? The whole idea of accountability starts to get really, really fuzzy.
The potential downsides are pretty significant. Researchers are flagging all sorts of dangers, like agents getting hijacked by bad actors, or us just putting way too much trust in them and causing a whole chain reaction of errors. Not to mention our own critical thinking skills might start to fade if we rely on them too much. And how do you even keep an eye on something that's acting all by itself?
And this brings us right to the heart of the matter. As these systems become more powerful, more autonomous, what happens to our own sense of control, our own human agency? This is the central question that experts are debating like crazy right now.
On one side, you've got a pretty bleak outlook. David Krieger here basically argues that our feeling of individual choice is already an illusion. He says in a world run by data, automated decisions are just going to replace human ones, and it'll become obvious that our belief in free will was kind of a myth all along.
But then another group is pushing back on that, hard. Michael Wolobowski insists that for these systems to even be accepted by us, the user must stay in charge, no exceptions. From his point of view, technology should be a tool that serves us, that frees us up from boring stuff, not a system that makes our big decisions for us.
Digital theorist Douglas Rushkoff offers a third path. He argues that maybe the problem isn't the technology itself, but the economic system it's built for. He says as long as the main incentive is just making money for shareholders, technology will always be designed to control us. If we want technology to truly empower us, he argues, the entire goal has to shift away from profit and toward mutual human flourishing.
So from a confusing little unsubscribe button, all the way to an autonomous AI agent booking our vacations, the line between persuasion and control is getting blurrier every single day. As our technology evolves from being a simple tool into an active teammate, we're all being forced to decide, who is really in charge here?